That was off.
That's okay.
Hello, everybody.
We're back.
Welcome.
What shirt is that? Glass Cannon.
Yeah,
It looks like we're the same company because it's the same color shirt,
that's true.
but it's not.
All right.
Funhouse is dead because Lawrence is gone and Bruce is gone.
Are they actually gone
I'm kidding.
now?
No. They're still around.
Yeah, what the hell? Like, I keep saying things like, oh, they're still there.
Yeah, they are still there. Here, move the camera.
Are they not leaving, or what? They're having second thoughts? They're like, oh shit, I have to stream every day, and that's actually way more boring than making videos with all these people I enjoy.
So Funhouse still exists. It's just Lawrence and Bruce left. That's all.
But they're still there.
Oh, well, I mean, some of their videos that they recorded, whatever,
Oh.
are still playing with them when they were there.
Oh.
But they also they're planning to make guest appearances whenever they invite them in. But their roles on the team aren't there. Because, like, Lawrence did a lot of the managerial, whatever
Really?
stuff, I think. Like, first Bruce was general manager, and then Lawrence
Took that over.
took over that, I think. Something like that.
He didn't last very long.
And then he was like, fuck that. And then he bounced. Kind of. I don't know why. I don't
Yeah,
follow
why are
him
they
that
all
closely,
bouncing? I thought they all got along, and is it
I don't think it's.
know what?
I don't think it's them. I
Yeah.
think it's.
Rooster Teeth's too corporate?
I think that's part of what it is because Rooster Teeth got bought by, was it AT&T or something, or like the
Actually?
the parent is AT&T, which is like I think it's AT&T, and it's funny because I think they probably made jokes about how because AT&T also owns Machinima, which is where they came from, but they escaped
Oh.
from Machinima, which all the corporate stuff, so that they
Yeah.
could do their own thing, and they went to Rooster Teeth,
And then that happened.
and then now Rooster Teeth got bought
Oh,
by
yeah.
like kind of something like that.
They could all just leave one by one and just start a new thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, they didn't say that, but they might. But
that might
Bruce
be
said
what's-
he's doing other stuff. Lawrence said he's doing other stuff. Lots of projects they can't talk about yet,
Really.
but they're also streaming and stuff like that. But I'm glad that they're not.
There's gonna be a
Yeah.
point where everyone who was originally at Rooster Teeth is gone, and then it's just gonna be
Oh, what,
a bunch
what
of
is
random people no one cares about.
it? I don't. Where is this coming from?
Why is it
What's happening?
Japanese?
Oh, I think it was from Netflix. Oh, my Netflix just started playing randomly.
Here, in the meantime,
Okay. Sorry about that. What were we talking about?
awesome lightsaber.
Funhouse. Oh yeah, because I remember there's this video where Jeff was. This was a while ago where Bruce Tooth had to like lay off a bunch of people, and then he had a video where it's supposed to be him and a bunch of guys, but everybody was late because they were filming other shit, and he was just saying how like. It's hard to make these decisions at such a high level when you're at such a big company now. And then he's like, I hope all you guys judging us, like, I hope you guys know how to run companies better than we do. And I hope it all works out for you. But like, we're trying to make the best decisions we can, at the time and whatever, which I get. I'm going to turn this up a little bit.
And I don't think they ever saw themselves being in this position either. A lot of them.
Yeah. But I think there is something to, I mean, it's difficult because it's like, once you grow to a certain level,
Yeah.
you need to like play the game in a certain way because you're
Yeah.
gonna get. But then it's also because you want to stay relevant. You know what I mean? Because that's like a big issue. Is like either you're grinding away trying to stay. Like do you hop on the next like Fortnite Minecraft thing? Like like that's one way. Or do you? But it's also safer to like okay, well AT&T is such a big company. Whether we can, it might potentially in theory give us more creative freedom. Because they're a big company that can support us whether we fail or not. Like, let's say we make a project, it fails, they're a big company that can just be like, well, we still have faith in you because we have enough money to support you for now.
Yeah.
So the next project might
That's
be okay.
interesting. Because I
You
feel
know what
like,
I mean?
also I feel like though, wouldn't there be more like corporate interest that would be like, actually, we don't want this kind of video right now.
Of course,
This
that's
is hot,
that's
know?
also that's what I was saying is only in theory,
Yeah, in theory, yeah.
right? But the
financial freedom for creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why the move makes sense from that perspective. If you're like, let's say we're doing really well as a company,
Yeah.
and then they're like, hey, you can do whatever you want, but we'll fund you. And then they'll be like, hey, that seems like a good move for us to move up. It's like now we can do more things because they give us the budget. And even if we fail, they'll back you. And as long as they keep the creative freedom, which is the caveat to like a lot of times that doesn't work, which is why like Bungie probably broke their contract with Activision because they're like, okay, this isn't working because the creative freedom was stunted because they're pushing out the creative whatever they're working on because they just want the money. Like, I mean, this is all, I don't know for sure, but that's what I imagine. But it's tough, right? Because I think a lot of people, because on the one hand, a lot of people, that's what their goal is. We'll make some shit and then we'll sell it, and then we're big now and we'll just do whatever as long as we get our paycheck. But then there's people like, a lot of people like artists that are in this business like us that are trying to do some stuff. Is like, we want to maintain, like our creative integrity and whatever. But it's also like, if this is going to be the problem is like when this is our livelihood, and it's like, if it's dependent on constantly like what we do has to be liked by other people, there's a play there where it's like, you should be able to do whatever you want to do all the time, but that's risking it every time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And Rooster Teeth also runs the risk of like, I guess, was it, you say AT&T?
I think so.
Okay,
I should look it up.
AT&T, like, maybe one day goes, actually, we don't give a shit about video game stuff anymore. We're shutting you down. Now they just lost the company they worked on for years. So they do run that risk, too.
Well, I think
Someone else
be okay.
saying when they should end.
Rooster Teeth is big enough that they'd be okay.
Well, I mean, those guys would all just go make a new thing and then probably follow it, but...
Well, I don't think... Well, yeah, I don't know. I forgot how...
But, imagine, what if Rooster Teeth stayed independent,
Yeah, go on.
Like, where do you think they would be now? Do you think they'd be in a similar spot, or do you think they would...
Well, see, like, I don't have the full history of how all this stuff went down. Because, like, in 2014, they were bought by Fullscreen.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know... Fullscreen, I think, is a subsidiary of...
AT&T.
But I don't know if that happened in... I thought something else...
conglomerates.
I thought something else happened more recently in, like, 2018 or 2019 or something.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, not that it matters, like... where I think you and I are talking more conceptually.
Yeah. Because didn't, like, Screw Attack get closed down or something?
No, they just changed the name to...
There's some big one that got closed.
I don't know if it's got... Well, I'm sure there's lots that got closed. I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
But I know Screw Attack used to be... Or, what are they called now? What are those called? Death Battle.
Yeah.
Screw Attack would do Death Battle. Because Screw Attack was a channel. But now once they were... they partnered or acquired or whatever by Rooster Teeth...
Yeah.
Then they became... just Death. Their channel is called Death Battle or whatever, and it's not called Screw Attack. So Screw Attack was no more after that. It's just Death Battle because that's what they do, something like that. But I don't know. It's hard because it's like behind closed doors. You don't know what they're thinking, like what their motivations are, what their intentions are. I'm sure it's hard because you and I always point out the ones. All the artists always focus on the ones that don't work out well. Like, oh yeah, Bungie left Activision because Activision, right? And like Rooster Teeth is like probably not doing well because AT&T is corporate and then and like I'm sure there are some deals that do go well. I think I would hope, I imagine, where it's like when you're acquired or whatever, like it was a good move because they actually will support you creatively and financially, and it's a good like partnership thing going on where you guys both respect each other's thing. But I know it's like as artists, like that is a fear that we always have, but I can see the difficulty in like, if this is your livelihood, like there's certain moves that feel like, okay, this is safer for me in the long run. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like my family or they
probably get a lot of money.
Yeah. It's dependent on this.
Also, a big part of it is also what they put in the contract,
Yeah.
If they're like, hey, we get complete 100% creative control. Mm-hmm. Like no say from AT&T or whatever, then that's a good contract,
Right, but AT&T can at any point just be like,
peace.
Yeah, like we don't. You guys aren't making us money, so whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of risks there.
It's interesting because like
get on this conversation.
We just started here.
Yeah,
it's interesting because somebody from high school messaged me randomly and was like, so he's gone full into like client media services. So he's like a small, like Gary Vaynermedia type thing, where like he wants to work with companies, brands, and businesses to do their media for them, like YouTube and Instagram and all that stuff. And then I guess he noticed some of the stuff I was doing. I don't know what he saw or not or whatever, but he was like, hey man, I just want to connect and say what's up, and like it's cool that you're doing stuff and whatever. So we just had a bit of a messaging just back and forth.
Yeah.
And I was talking about like, I don't know if you guys watched the past podcast, but I'll go through like my new mindset of like, before like I had the macro goal, the clouds of like just the idea of like Funhouse, of like having like a team of guys, we make content and like that's our job and it's fun. Like we wake up every day, we make funny videos or whatever it is, and we're like a team, and we're like that macro goal was so alluring to me that I was willing to put in the grind and like the dirt of like making the videos, recording every day, editing, whatever, 6 hours a day, whatever.
Yeah,
like I was willing to do all that stuff because the macro goal was motivating me, and I enjoyed doing it too, right? Like meeting up with you guys to film was always fun. Whereas like now, like the mentality that I had with, like, I say you and I shared is that I was willing to be patient to do all that stuff because it requires a lot of time and effort to do those things, obviously, right? Like to build a brand like Rooster Teeth took many, 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 many years for them to become where they are now, or even something relevant, right? All the seasons of Red versus Blue or whatever. So there's patience that's involved by going through the grind, right? Yeah. So I was willing to have that patience. The problem is when, like if you and I are willing to put in the 40, 50 years, whatever, because we're like, I'm patient and I'm going to enjoy the grind, I'm just going to do it. If the 50 years mark comes, kind of, and I'm like, whatever, 60 years old, let's say, I'm exaggerating, but whatever, who knows. Let's say I'm like 60 years old and it still hasn't happened, I would still be like, yeah, like I enjoyed the journey and whatever. But I think there was a part of me that would have been a little bit salty, like kind of like, well, like I did it though, like I put in like 50 years.
It's not like a perfect equation that just.
Of course, and like I convinced myself that I was like totally okay with like, oh well, like I'm good with putting in the 40, 50 years, and it didn't happen, I would be okay. But because I tried, I think I realized that it's like, I'm sure there would be some sliver of me at the very least that's like 50 years from now and it didn't happen, I would be like, well, I put in my time. You know what I mean? Like I put in 30, 40 years and like it's still I'd be kind of sad.
There's a little saltiness there, I guess.
Yeah, like I'd be a little bit sad. You know what I mean?
But I mean, and also there is similar saying, it's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all. So in a way, it's like it's better to have tried than to never have tried at all.
Of course.
But you have to be okay with that.
Right.
And there's the element of like, I still wish I got the chick, I still wish I, achieved that thing, right? Yeah. So I totally understand.
Definitely. What you mean, but I think right now the focus has become more on like, what is like, going back to like the idea that I talked to you about too, is like, a lot of artists, they don't even, I mean, this is a far extreme, but they're like, they don't even believe in inspiration. Yeah. They're like, you just gotta, every day you gotta sit down and you gotta draw or write or whatever. And like whether you feel like it or not, you just gotta sit down and do it, and that's what you gotta do. And for them, that's gotten to them to a point where because they did that, now they landed a job that they think is good for them, and so like them having that habit, and that's how they live their life, has gotten them to the certain place, and now they're gonna be like telling every other artist or telling people in their life like, this is what you have to do because this is what I did to get to where I am. Whereas I've found in my experience with certain other things where I'm really not good at doing things when I'm not inspired and not passionate about it. Like I always talk to you about when we did writing, like we had to write essays in school, is like I would wait forever, like to the last second, because I'd just be like, I don't know what I want to write yet. Yeah. And then we almost like literally, I think every single paper, there might have been like one, maybe I didn't, but every other, 99% of the papers I wrote in university, I had an idea that just hit me, and I was like, that's what I'm going to write. I know what I'm going to write. I know what I'm going to write. And I wouldn't even, I threaded in the references kind of like, because you're supposed to, but it was 90% of me just talking because I had an idea that I was so inspired about that I wanted to, And so a lot of the things that I do, making videos, training, and all the stuff that I do in my life is like, I need that, like, inspiration and stuff, and there's been times where like I've tried to, like working out's a good one, like where I force myself to work out when I don't feel good about it, but I'm like, you should work out anyway, and like even then I don't feel that great about them. Like I'm very rarely am I like, I'm glad I worked out when I didn't feel like it. Like I don't know, for some reason I'm still like not like I'm that sad after, but like it's not like a big, you know what I mean? Like, but I'm usually I wait till I feel good about it. And so anyway, going back to like all this, macro goal and all that stuff that I was talking about before, is that I'm more focused on like what is fun in that moment. So like I'll bring up Gary Vee again as an example. Is like he wants to buy, the New York Jets, right? Like a big sports team or whatever that costs billions of dollars. He could go into like investing, which he'd be really good at, and like, like, I don't know, playing with stocks. Like, there's a lot of other things, acquiring companies. There's a lot of other things that he could be doing that would make the best financial use of his time and energy and money and he could get to the Jets as like buying that sports team as fast as possible. He could do that.
Yeah.
But the journey of him doing those things like in like VC, like venture capital, and like investing in startups and all that stuff, like it's just not fun for him. And then you see him post videos like Trash Talks where he's doing garage sailing, right, and buying, flipping stuff, which obviously that money's not going directly to him buying the Jets, but doing the stuff of him doing that is like fun. Like those things that he's doing is fun. Sports, like trading sports cards, the wine things, that's his family thing, and he has like it's a soft spot there. Like the stuff that he's doing is fun for him, so he says, hopefully, right? Like he's the process, the journey, like is fun every day.
Yeah.
Whereas, as opposed to me trying to force myself, like, well, you know, whether I feel like it or not, I just gotta do it because that's what, you know what I mean?
You gotta do.
But I mean, like, but I think there is like a balance there, obviously.
For sure, yeah.
And it's also like, you know, lately, and this is where I was transitioning. This is what I was gonna talk about in the first place. Was like I'm not like as gung ho about that stuff anymore because I'm more conscious about like what I feel like doing like every day, like what like I was saying, I legitimately like I'm trying to figure out a way to make video games like the thing that I could make a job out of, because I think I can play video games like if I think it's the easiest thing to force myself to do. You know what I mean? To
Fair
like,
enough.
I gotta play video. It's like, yeah, I could totally play Dragon Quest for 8 hours if I wanted to. I could totally.
Sure.
It's easier to just be like, you know, it's like, oh, you put 2 hours in, you're like, oh, you could just play another hour. Even if you don't feel like it, it's the easiest thing to just keep going.
Exactly.
Which, like, you know, like sometimes I play, like, I don't know, not that I play that much, but I mean, you know.
I think.
I don't know.
Sorry.
No, go
okay.
on.
I think, because inspiration, it's kind of a tough thing. I kind of juggle with the idea of like, am I forcing myself or am I just inspired a lot? Or for me, I feel like I'm chasing highs, maybe. Like when I finish a piece of art, there's nothing that compares to that feeling, you know, when I'm proud of something. It's like, this is like a high, you know, you get that serotonin or whatever the fuck, you know, dopamine from just finishing it. And then it's like, well, okay, next thing, I gotta make something else that'll impress myself, you know. So I feel like I'm starting to just kind of think of it as like, constantly chasing these highs, like not so much like forcing myself to do things, because like I went to a coffee shop on Sunday and I brought my iPad and I just worked on shit and I loved it. Like it's fun, you know. I find it fun. I just like listen to music or a podcast and just work on art, you know, like being in a social place. And
Okay, that's where I was going with it. Because it's
Sorry.
like the guy that messaged me that's in client services and stuff.
Yes.
I was saying that I was explaining that idea that I was just saying to him. And then he was like, yeah, that's like a good like wake up call for me, because I've noticed, because he's noticed, because I kind of lightly asked about it, like, oh, how is that going? Like, hopefully you're enjoying the process, and like what and all that stuff. Like I kind of lightly asked that, and he was like, yeah, like, you know, it's a tough one because it's like you're balancing, you know, creative, you know, being a creator for work, which is fun, but also like you have clients and it's money, right? So they're paying you to do something. And you kind of have to do what they say. Exactly, so it's like your creative freedom is not, you know, and
sometimes limited,
Yeah, like, and because I thought about that, you know, like trying to do media for other companies, because that'd be really easy, I think, like for me, like I
think you could do it well.
But the idea of it doesn't motivate me, because it's like they'd be like, yeah, but can we have, you know, people always, it's like people love being the idea, like it's like the people that have app ideas. And it's like you love being the idea guy, but you imagine the guy that actually makes the app is kind of like, oh, yeah, another app idea. Okay, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And then so...
Another streamer.
so being like the client service media guy is like being the app developer. Or people at the business, you're going to go to the business and be like, hey, I'll do your media for you. Like, okay, like, can we give me like a really cool like angle with it? And you're like, okay, yeah, sure. I don't know if that's, but like, yeah, sure, man. Okay, all right.
I want to wear this blazer and the sunglasses and walk through this like hallway, you know.
Like Old Spice. Can we do Old Spice?
Yeah, it's too Old Spice.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And you're like, all right, cool. Like, it just, that doesn't really motivate me.
I'll take my shirt off now.
And so, like, with him, like, I think he saw, like, and I know there's, and we both agree that there's, like, a niche or, like, a hole in the market there, kind of, right now. Like, there's a need for it, but nobody's, like, there's too much demand. There's not enough supply. Of like media client, you know, people doing media, and a lot of people don't understand that they need it and whatever, right? So that is a very lucrative business that you could go into, and that's, I think, part of the reason why he picked it, I'm sure, right? And you saw Gary, and he likes making videos and all that stuff, but I think, you know, actually doing it sometimes is not always for me, it wouldn't be like super fulfilling. You know what I mean? But it's a tough one because again, like going back to like Rooster Teeth and all that stuff is like if you're banking your livelihood on it, it's like this is. I don't know. It's tricky. You know what I mean? It's like you might have to do those things sometimes, right?
Exactly.
And so like I guess I'm thinking more about like what makes me happy all the time like that I could do. That's what I was saying. Like video games is like an easy one because like I could just play video games like a significant amount of time and then like even if I don't feel like it, playing another hour doesn't seem that hard to do. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like you're just playing another hour, you know what I mean? But at the same time, you hear guys that listen to the IGN podcast and they occasionally talk about that. Like for example, the girl
like
that does
game fatigue. You mean like
yeah, but it's because like the girl that talks about it, is like she does the guides.
Oh.
So you can imagine like you have to do every little thing.
That's the
right?
most tedious part.
It's the most right. Like she has to do the guides, so you can imagine she has to do every little. Like imagine like those like puzzle games that you have the pre-release copy. Nobody else is playing it. And you have to figure out all the things, and they're saying like they even occasionally will like exchange like secrets with GameSpot because it's like they're competitors, but it's like like hey, I'll give you my secret if you beat this, and because it's like it's that kind of crazy, and then that ruins the fun of playing the game, obviously, right?
Yeah,
but I'm sure there's a way to like play the game the way I do.
Next to being like a game tester, that's the next worst tedious job.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Yeah, game tester seems.
Yeah, it's like this game's gonna be great. Oh, it's broken. Fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, go through that room again. Oh, it's fucking broken. Okay.
That's the other thing is they're like they're always wondering like is it a bug or am I just stupid? Like am I not figuring? And it's always like just because it's like sometimes it's an alpha or something.
Oh yeah.
Or like a beta or whatever. They're kind of like I want to like like it's that uncertainty kills you. Yeah. It's like am I just not figuring it out or is there this like the games bro they fuck up like it's a bug. Right,
yeah,
like they fuck
crazy.
up, right? And it's like, oh, but I find that funny. But I'm sure, but there's lots of ways I'm sure I can make some type of something out of me just playing the games the way I do without forcing myself too much. But yeah, I don't know. Lately, like I was saying to you, is like my creative like juices and all that stuff aren't like super. It's not the creative juice I feel like so much, but it's the
desire to
like
follow through
to like do this stuff. Well, not follow through, but like I don't know, just to do this stuff is not super exciting anymore
at the moment,
and it could be a bit of like like because it's just you and me and like there's not as many people involved and like
it's possible
whatever, but I think it's also like I don't have the vision yet either.
I was like away for a bit and
that too
stuff,
but like I don't have that like vision like I was saying like remember before like
the
fun house or something like some kind of goal that's like I want that, like that's what I want.
I often wonder if they even had that vision to begin with, or it's just it kind of happened as it.
I'm sure it was obviously it wasn't very clear, but I think you could see it forming as they did it. But like with us, it kind of like with GMV, like with us and the other guys, was that I had that goal, but like as we were trying to do it, I could see it kind of not working out the way like if this is the way we're gonna go, it wouldn't really work out that, which is not like a sad thing. It's not like a rag on anybody, but it just wouldn't work out that way. I don't think you know what I mean. Like unless suddenly you guys just decided one day like all right I'm fully in now like it but if it probably wasn't going to happen like that, so which is not like a bad, I think that was supposed to happen, and so I think I knew it from the beginning and that was also like a good stepping point, I guess like it was good testing for me to like actually do it. It's almost like I think like I was saying I'm super grateful for you guys to do that with me so I have an idea of what that's like.
But
yeah I know like the other thing was like I was saying a goal that I should have this year is to like meet people. Oh fuck, my nuggets are probably burning.
Lightsaber break. His nuggets are burning.
Well, they're not burning, but they're super dry. No. Oh, that's okay.
Welcome back.
I forgot my nuggets in the oven, guys.
Are they're okay?
They're not burnt, but they're like super dry on the outside. You could tell.
Nug status is not good.
That's okay. Should have put a timer on it. But yeah.
I did a really long thing, like a nug update.
Nice.
Yeah, right here. Curtis will do that. It'll be like a little
nug update.
Nug update, little bumper thing here.
We're not doing that. I'm not putting a bumper there.
That's okay. He'll do it. Okay. So what are we talking about?
How do you feel about your creative whatever right now? So our talks, Zach.
The thing is, It's funny to think of because as soon as you started saying like I just don't have the desire to do it at the moment. Not that you're not necessarily like inspired. It made me think back to high school a lot because I was always into drawing, but there would be like I remember grade 9 I'd be like I don't feel like drawing. I didn't draw for like a year. And then it would be like grade 10 again and grade 11. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to drawing. And then it hit grade 12 and I'm like, I don't feel like drawing. And then it would be like another maybe like 6 months or a year. And then it would be like university hit again. And I was like, hey, this is something I actually really like want to do. So then I would do it a lot and stuff. But like there's been times where I just go in waves and I'm like, I don't want to do it. But like in my head, I was never like, this is the end of that. Like, you know?
Yeah, no,
it's kind of like,
that's the same.
I'm just taking a step back till I am mentally ready to even try that again, or I feel inspired enough to want to.
Yeah. I mean, I think that happens with a lot of things. Like even with like kickboxing and training and stuff. When I do that, is like like you know, me and Achilles will talk about this a lot too. Is that like you know sometimes if you just don't go to training for a while and you come back, like your mind is fresher because it's like it's not because you know like let's say you go to training every day or every second day, you're doing the same patterns. You're like okay, I'm just gonna keep doing my thing because you're just going. But if you kind of take a break and come back, it's like your brain processed and it's not on the same patterns. So you're weirdly moving differently and more fluently.
Or even
more, you know, like
even going back to video games. Have you ever hit like a point in a game and it's so fucking hard and you can't beat it and you're fucking pissed off and you have to turn the game off and then you're like, okay, I'll try again tomorrow. And then you come back and you beat it like right away, like first try.
Yep.
It's totally like that. It's just like you come back with this new fresh mindset and you're not frustrated and you think a bit differently and then you just do it so easily or you're better. Or
that one's funny because it's always like when you're stubborn about it. Like
it
Dark
is
Souls.
exactly.
It's the Dark Souls thing, right?
Like,
it's like you did it like 100 times and it's like 2 a.m. and you're like
Yeah. I remember playing Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Yeah.
And there's what are they called?
Level 9.
No, it was like there's like there used to be a all-star mode or something.
Okay.
And there was like 50 levels, and I remember getting to the last one, and I had to fight like it was a bunch of level 9s or some shit like that. And I just couldn't do it, and I was young. I was a young kid.
Yeah.
And I just got so fucking pissed that I was like almost crying.
Yeah.
Like, I was so mad I couldn't do this, and then I went to bed. Pissed off, and I woke up the next day and I beat it the first try, and I just remember being like, "Fuck yeah, fuck you."
Yeah, Dark Souls is like that.
Yeah, exactly. Dark Souls totally like that.
GMV's like that, you know. Like I was just so mad with you guys.
Hey, now you get to come back and we'll do it all right.
Yeah, you know it's funny because part of it there is that like nostalgia and stuff like that too. But I think
I caught a bit of that from you on Sunday.
It's
Saturday,
I would never do it in the same way. No. It would be a very casual thing. It would be casual. Yeah. It's just like. Again, it's like I was talking to Brad about it. It's very like it's because you're saying certain things. Yeah. I'd rather it be just like we're just doing it like
we want to do it today.
Yeah, like almost like because like you know when you see a lot of the videos that like become viral or like are successful or whatever or anybody, a lot of it is because they just whatever. Like remember I was giving that example of like the guy that's reviewing something that doesn't really have a YouTube channel, but he's reviewing it just because like he bought the thing and he's like, why not put a video up of like? There's no intention of like I want to hey hit subscribe.
I want to build a YouTube empire.
Exactly right. Like he doesn't have any of that. He's just kind of like hey I got this thing and like this is and it's kind of like that's almost like the most honest review you could get.
Yeah.
Sometimes you know what I mean.
Or like the dude that's sitting in the you know fucking KFC parking lot and he's got the newest item and he's eating it in his car and he's giving you a review. You know what I mean?
I don't.
Okay.
I've never seen those.
Whatever.
Okay, well time's coming up. So.
Okay. Well, I hope that your existential dread
I have no dread.
Able to
I'm gonna go check out those chicken nuggets. But thanks for joining us for this Art Talks. Zach is back.
I am back.
With a new toy, which we'll talk about in the next podcast.
See you later.